There's a moment in life when you stop chasing explanations, when the pain settles, the anger cools, and the dust finally begins to fall back to the ground. And in that quiet, something else wakes up. A force that doesn't shout, doesn't argue, doesn't demand to be understood. It simply moves, slowly, precisely, inevitably. You felt this force before, even if you didn't have a name for it. It's that strange heaviness that follows people who cross lines they shouldn't have crossed. That shadow that begins to cling to someone who harmed you with intention, who broke something inside you and walked away as if nothing happened. It's the energy that circles back, not because you wished for revenge, but because the universe keeps its books balanced with frightening accuracy. This video isn't about wishing bad on anyone. It's about recognizing the signs, understanding the patterns, seeing what always shows up before karma finally does. Because when someone wrongs you deeply, intentionally, repeatedly, the universe eventually taps them on the shoulder. And trust me, when it does, they always know. Sign 1. Their inner world becomes louder than their outer world. The first sign karma is approaching someone who wronged you is subtle, invisible from the outside, but undeniably destructive from within. Their mind stops being a quiet place to live in. People think karma begins on the outside, with loss, consequences, exposure, but it never does. It begins internally. It begins with noise. Someone who betrayed you, lied to you, manipulated you, or took something from you without remorse eventually loses the ability to sit comfortably with themselves. They might look calm on the surface. They might even look happier without you. But the truth? Their inner world starts trembling the moment they cross the line. It begins with small discomforts, restless nights, intrusive memories, the replaying of what they did in moments they thought they'd forgotten. Wrongdoing doesn't disappear. It buries itself, and buried things rot. The Stoics said it best: a guilty mind cannot hide from itself. Let me give you a story. There was a man who betrayed a friend in business, used him, drained him, and abandoned him. Outwardly, he gained everything he wanted, but inside, he couldn't escape the memory of the friend who trusted him. Months later, he told someone, "I keep seeing his face when I'm alone." That's not regret. That's karma beginning its work. See, when someone wrongs you, the universe doesn't need to punish them with lightning. Their own conscience becomes the storm. Their thoughts begin to turn against them. Silence becomes uncomfortable. Stillness becomes threatening. Their outer world can be perfect, but their inner world becomes a battlefield, and it always begins before the fall. If you've ever wondered whether someone feels anything after hurting you, this is your answer. Karma starts inside their mind long before you ever see the consequences outside. Sign 2. They start losing the relationships that once protected them. The second sign karma is closing in on someone who wronged you is the slow unraveling of their social world. This is one of the clearest patterns in human behavior. Those who harm others eventually harm the wrong person, in the wrong moment, at the wrong time. People don't suddenly become cruel toward you. Cruelty is a pattern. If they betrayed you, they've betrayed others before. If they lied to you, they have lied to others. If they manipulated you, they are manipulating someone else right now. But here's the twist. The people around them start noticing. Bit by bit, the facade fades. Bit by bit, the mask slips. Bit by bit, they lose the people who once kept them afloat. Friends stop trusting them. Family becomes distant. Partners grow suspicious. Coworkers keep their guard up. They didn't just lose you, they start losing everyone. A real scenario: when someone wrongs you and walks away like it meant nothing, they believe they can continue living without accountability. But life has a strange sense of symmetry. The same disloyalty they showed you shows up in their other relationships. And suddenly, the people who once believed them no longer feel safe. Isolation begins. This isn't punishment, it's exposure. People start seeing their true character without even knowing what they did to you. Their charm no longer works. Their excuses no longer land. Their manipulation no longer convinces anyone. Human behavior is consistent. Someone who breaks you will eventually break enough people that their entire support system collapses. That's karma. Not loud, not dramatic, but inevitable. Sign 3. Their identity begins to fracture under the weight of their own lies. Sign number 3 is where karma stops whispering and starts tightening its grip. This is the stage where their identity begins to collapse. Not their finances, not their status, their sense of self. When someone wrongs you deeply, they often construct a narrative to justify their actions. I had no choice. They deserved it. I didn't do anything wrong. They were the problem. But maintaining a lie requires energy. Maintaining a false identity requires effort, and effort always runs out. Slowly, the mask they built begins cracking. They start contradicting themselves. Their stories stop aligning. Their confidence becomes shaky. They lose the ability to defend their actions with the same boldness they once had. This is the downfall arc, the internal collapse before the external one. One day, the narrative they created no longer feels believable even to themselves, and that realization is devastating. They're forced to face the truth they spent months, sometimes years, avoiding. That they weren't the hero of the story. They weren't the victim. They weren't justified. They were the one who caused the pain. Identity conflict is one of the deepest forms of karmic correction. A person can survive loss, embarrassment, consequences, but living with a fractured identity, that breaks them from the inside. They question who they are. They question why they did what they did. They question what kind of person chooses betrayal over honesty. And once someone's sense of self begins to crumble, everything else follows. This is karma working at the level of the soul, not punishing but revealing. Sign 4. Their mental and physical energy begins to drain. When someone wrongs you, they don't just create damage in your life, they create a debt in theirs. And nature collects that debt through energy. This is where stress, fatigue, and emotional imbalance begin taking over their life. See, the human mind is not built to carry hidden guilt long term. The nervous system recognizes dishonesty even when the conscious mind denies it. This creates internal tension, an unspoken, unacknowledged stress response that never turns off. They start feeling tired for no reason. They wake up exhausted, their motivation drops, their creativity disappears, their mood becomes unpredictable. This is not bad luck. This is the physiological cost of wrongdoing. Spiritually, the energy they stole from you must be returned, and the universe takes it back through their inner depletion. Psychologically, guilt creates cortisol spikes, emotional suppression drains dopamine, and avoidance burns mental calories. Their body becomes the battlefield for their karma. They may look fine on the outside, but inside, their system is running on fumes. They can't focus. They can't enjoy things. They can't stay present. They can't maintain the same confidence they had when they hurt you. Their emotional world starts collapsing from all sides. Anxiety, paranoia, irritability. They fear being exposed. They fear being abandoned. They fear being seen for who they truly are. This fear eats their energy from the inside out. This is karma in its rawest form, not a curse, not revenge, but the natural weight of carrying what they never should have done. Sign 5. The truth finally comes out, and they can't control the outcome. This is the final sign, the unmasking moment, the one thing people always think they can outrun: exposure. Karma has a ruthless way of bringing truth to the surface, especially when someone tries to bury it. Lies unravel, secrets leak, patterns repeat, people talk, and eventually, someone connects the dots. The same universe that protected you during your healing begins revealing everything that was hidden. Someone they trust notices inconsistency. Someone they hurt speaks up. Someone who believed them finally sees through them. And suddenly, the image they worked so hard to protect begins collapsing. They aren't prepared. They don't have a defense. They can't shift the blame anymore. This exposure isn't always public. Sometimes it happens privately, quietly, devastatingly. But either way, they face the truth they tried to outrun. The truth they hoped no one would see. The truth that reflects exactly who they chose to be. And here's the part you need to hear. The truth doesn't just punish them. It frees you. Because once the truth comes out, the universe validates your pain without you lifting a finger. You don't have to prove what happened. You don't have to justify your healing. You don't have to explain why you walked away. Life reveals what you stayed silent about. If someone wronged you and walked away like it meant nothing, hear this. Karma has already started its work. Not because you wished for it, but because balance demands it. Your job is not to chase revenge. Your job is to rise, to heal, to rebuild yourself with a strength they can no longer touch. The universe saw everything, and it remembers. If this message helped you breathe a little deeper, subscribe to Anonymous Achiever for more. and comment, "I choose peace," so the universe knows you're ready for your next chapter.